Yeah. Welcome back to the Hot Minutia. My name is Barry Long the second, not the first, not the third. I am Barry Long too. We are live on today'scalifornia.com. We are live on CoachellaValley.com. We are also live on today'scanada.com. We are all over the Twitterverse, all over the metaverse, all over the universe. Let me bring in my main man with the swag today, Rudy Ramon Reyes. Rudy, you got that swag on today, bro.
It's always about the swag, my friend. You know, you gotta do it right or don't do it at all.
Hey, can we talk about my swag real quick though? Because I have the Firebirds official Firebirds,
I
Coachella
like
Valley
that.
Firebirds,
I like that.
and we have a hockey team coming out here. Okay, so to your left is the original logo that they're gonna have. They're gonna have on the jerseys, but to the right is the palm tree. That's the secondary logo. That's what I'm rocking right now. So we representing for
Okay.
CoachellaValley.com. And real quick
Nice.
before we get off into the show, the BNP Paribas is out here in the Coachella Valley, and we had a local kid. He's from Southern California. Taylor Fritz dominated. He didn't dominate. It was a back and forth match, but he defeated Rafael Nadal, who's 35 years old, and Taylor Fritz is 24. His dad is the tennis coach out here at Coachella Valley at COD, College of the Desert, and it was just an amazing moment to see a young kid, an American, win, the tournament at Indian Wells. Shout out to Larry Ellison. Shout out to the entire Indian Wells BNP Paribas committee. But it was a great tournament, but it was great to see him win.
Nice. That's always nice to get a win, especially in your own backyard. You know, the guys from the USA, Nadal is just, he's a beast. I've seen that guy play multiple
I think
times.
He won like I think he won like 90 something tournaments. Like this dude is sick. Like you gotta make your face like
yeah,
y'all comment. Y'all
like
comment
a Michael
on the show.
Phelps thing. You're like,
y'all comment on the show just like Bill Senso did. He says, "Hi, Barry and Rudy. We love
do
Bill
it just
Senso."
like Bill.
Do it just like Bill. All right, so we're gonna talk. So we haven't talked. How was your weekend, Rudy? Reyes?
My weekend was very eventful.
That's all you're gonna say?
No, it's good. You know,
weekend was the greatest.
Sometimes you just gotta clean things out. You gotta pull out the broom and you gotta sweep away the old to see what you were missing before.
Hey, well, let me tell you something real quick though. Barry Long II has been doing a little bit of working out in the gym. Has been doing some yoga, some hot yoga, and all I have to say is that all of my fellow yogis, namaste. We are live.
That's exactly what I was saying.
We are live on CoachellaValley.com, live on today'scalifornia.com, live on today'scanada.com. And I tell you somebody who needs to be doing yoga, Deshaun Watson. Okay, Deshaun Watson has been traded from the Houston Texans to the Cleveland Browns for 5 draft picks. Now, it was rumored at first that it was going to be 2 first-round draft picks. Now it's 3, and there's a couple of other draft picks, but it's 5 draft picks total. And he has now become the clear-cut starter for the we got a comment real quick. Shout out to Naomi Vex. She says red and black tandem. Yeah, so I'm red, you're black. Tandem, love that.
Appreciate it. Love the tandem shout.
So back to Deshaun Watson. He was traded to the Cleveland Browns. He will now be their clear-cut starter. 5 draft picks. He's getting an insane amount of guaranteed money right now. We've heard of other quarterbacks that have been traded. Matt Ryan, we'll get to that. Marcus Mariota signed a deal. We'll get to that. We'll get to the Browns, what they're going to do with Baker Mayfield. But let's talk about what the Browns are going to do with Deshaun Watson. We're not sure if he's going to be a starter or if he's going to play this season at all. Maybe he'll miss half the season. Maybe he'll miss 6 games. But we know that there is a looming suspension that will be coming down from the league because of these 22 civil lawsuits that he's facing for the sexual misconduct. But what are your thoughts when you saw, because you're a Steelers fan, you got the Steel City hat on. What are your thoughts on Deshaun Watson coming to, and I'm a Ravens fan, coming to our division, the AFC North?
You know, I'm not overly concerned about it. And here's a couple of reasons why. He's going to miss at least 6 to 10 games. He hasn't been in football shape. Don't know what he's going to look like on the field once he even gets an opportunity to get onto the field. I like his athleticism. However, he's just been an absolute terror right before he decided to go rogue, or I should say unrobe, inside of rooms throughout the country with all these women basically putting these not so unviable claims. They're clearly viable. I mean, 25 women and they're all wrong. Something's wrong with that picture if that's what you believe. But I think Deshaun Watson still has a lot to prove to himself. a lot to prove to these 25 women as he's shelling up all his guaranteed money so he can pay them all hush hush and call it a day.
Shout out to guarantee money.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about guaranteed money. He's making more money guaranteed than Aaron Rodgers. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know how that quite works out well, but he has
So
yet to win
so
a chip.
let's before we get to the entire like football side of it, let's talk about, because you're talking about him having all this money. He's obviously going to have to pay out somebody. Out of those 22, 25 women that are suing him civilly, he's obviously going to have to pay out somebody. And there's a 6-game cloud around him that he's going to be suspended for 6 games. That's what we've heard from the past for,
At least
at least 6 games. He might miss an entire season, but let me ask you this, okay? Do you think, because there are members of his camp that are coming out saying that he is innocent, and they truly, firmly believe it. Now, I'm thinking that if it was a couple of women, even if it was 5 to 6, 7 women, then it's like, okay, maybe those 5 extra women are just trying to jump on the bandwagon. But when you look at 22 women, and then he's coming out saying that, oh, I got at least 30 women that I've had massages with that can confirm that I am not a sexual predator. I think that there's fire where there's smoke. So I like, there's members of his committee or of his camp saying that he is innocent. I believe that I don't think he's a rapist, but I think that he's a creep.
Well, he's definitely a creep. I mean, you're basically, what you're doing is you're telling 20 women that that you're lying, you're not telling the truth, that you're all about money, that you are wrong and you're lying and you've been lying your entire life. I mean, they're trying to make these women out to be absolute villains, but the person that's really looking in the mirror right now is Deshaun Watson, asking, can I be a better person? Am I more mature to handle this situation as it's been unfolding, unraveling since his entire suspension last season? And that will include 6 or more games this upcoming season for Deshaun Watson as he takes control under center for Baker Mayfield, who played, by the way, with his team knowing he had a torn labrum, and played anyway despite that. Why? Because that's who Baker Mayfield is. It's not who he pretended to be. That's really who he is. We thought Baker is who we thought he was, and he definitely is just that. He's a fighter, and he's going to be traded to a team or sent to a team or some type of draft picks. They're going to try to recoup some of the money they spent on Deshaun Watson. There's no doubt about that. However, where does Baker go? Does he go to Atlanta? They need a quarterback there. I'll be honest with you. When I look at Matt Ryan and I look at Baker Mayfield, to me, they look very similar. They look similar in their. They look similar.
Not in height.
No. Throwing motion. Toughness.
Okay, yeah. Matt Ryan is very tough.
He's very tough. He spent all his time in Atlanta, now getting traded to the Indianapolis Colts, which I think is sometimes what these players need. They need to get to a different place for a different mindset to refresh themselves, revitalize themselves, get to a point where they can say, man,
let me ask you
I'm
this,
so glad.
Let me ask you this, Rudy, because this has been the scenario the past few years in the NFL where it feels like these quarterbacks are playing musical chairs. Like, you had Russell Wilson in Seattle, now he's in Denver. Then you have like Carson Wentz moving from Indianapolis, now he's in Washington. It just seems like every single year we have this quarterback merry-go-round, and this is probably, in my opinion, this has probably been the most significant change in starting quarterbacks in the NFL that we've had in a long time. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll be honest with you. It's getting to where you can only recycle these guys so much, right? Because we've seen Carson Wentz, and he's a perfect example of this. Starting in Philadelphia, he was part of that Super Bowl winning team. He was great on third down. He got back to some of his old ways in regards to completion percentage on third down, second down. Overall, his game just got better while with the Colts. The problem is with a lot of these quarterbacks, not all of them, but a lot of them, do the same exact thing when they're under duress, on the run, out from under center, making those throws. They're either incompletions, trying to force something that's not there and causing interceptions. And these are just a recycled, it's all about reuse and recycle. Right now, these quarterbacks are in the recycling stage. And unfortunately, there are only maybe 2 or 3 quarterbacks out of this entire draft. Now, I give props to all the next to the nobodies or the Mr. Irrelevant at the end of the draft, right?
Yeah.
225th overall pick or whatever. It's
Ryan Suckup.
ridiculous. Yeah, okay, and him too. But to be honest with you, there's only 3 of them. So and none of them really kind of impressed me, to be honest with you. In college, they impressed me, but we're talking about the pros. This is a whole another animal altogether.
So we'll talk about these quarterbacks that could potentially be drafted and could potentially fill some of these roster spots, because we got a lot of places that need quarterbacks. But let me ask you this, okay? Because Rudy, first of all, shout out to Maria Lascuna. She's always supporting the show. She says, "Good evening, gentlemen." We appreciate her for always tuning in and always commenting. And if you are out there watching, Maria. Oh, Rudy, you got some vocals, man. We might have to sing karaoke one day.
All right. Yeah,
all right, but let me ask you this, okay? So Deshaun Watson goes to the Cleveland Browns. We have Joe Burrow in that division, Lamar Jackson, who recently won an MVP, Mitchell Trubisky, who I think is going to revive his career at Pittsburgh. And I also feel like Marcus Mariota, who we're going to talk about shortly, is going to revive his career in Atlanta with a familiar face in Arthur Smith. But I'm going to ask you this. Let's rank real quick. We have about 2 minutes to do this. Let's rank what are the top 4 quarterbacks in the AFC North. You got Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, you got Deshaun Watson, and you've got Mitchell Trubisky.
Top 4 quarterbacks, unproven Deshaun Watson. I'm going to have to go. Oh, my gosh. This is going to be crazy.
You know why it's going to be crazy? Because you're thinking about Joe Burrow, and you know that you never bet against Joe Burrow. He's got to be number one.
I have to go Joe Burrow, Joe Burr, or Joe Cool, Joe Burr Cool, whatever they want to call him.
They better not call him Joe. They better not call him Joe Schmo, because my man Joe Burrow is legit.
No schmo.
He's no schmo.
No, he's not. No, he isn't. So I have to go with
You got to go Burrow first?
You got to go Burrow first. Yeah, Burrow first. Lamar Jackson. Now, I interviewed Lamar when he came out in the draft. I got to go. I got to go with Lamar. I got to go with Lamar on this one.
Number 2?
He's already proven what he can do. And the reason why is because Watson hasn't proved himself. There's nothing to suggest that Watson is football ready. Okay, fine. He may be football ready from a passing standpoint, but what about the duress? What about the pressure? What about the packages, the 3-4s, the 4-3s? What about the fire blitzes? Is he going to be able to handle that type of pressure being a year removed from football? Maybe, but that hasn't been proven yet, though. So I cannot go with Watson at all, Sherlock, when it comes to what he can or can't
my
do.
last name might as well be Holmes, because I am Sherlock, and I think that's ridiculous. Honestly, I strongly disagree with you, because I think that when you rank those 4 quarterbacks, like let's not forget what Deshaun Watson was doing with a Houston Texans team that didn't have a lot of weapons. His running backs had good names, his O-line, but they didn't have good games. They had good names, but they didn't have good games. Okay, he had a little wide receiver tandem core. He had what's the guy? Brandon. He was like a little short guy. What's his name? He went from
Wheaton.
No. The wide receivers that he had. He had DeAndre Hopkins. He had a couple. He had Kenny Stills at one point.
Yeah.
Well, I'll look him up right here shortly. But what I'm saying is, my point is he never had a great team. He never had a great O-line. He never had great running backs. But my man is considered, before he went through all this conundrum of him, whether or not he's a creep or not, and he is a creep, he still was considered top 5 in the league. And at this point, I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan, and I will never say right now that Lamar Jackson is top 5, because the quarterback carousel around the NFL right now is so great right now. The quarterback play is at such a high level. So I would put Deshaun Watson ahead of Joe Burrow. As much as I love Joe Burrow, I've just seen Deshaun Watson more years than I've seen Joe Burrow, and we don't know. Joe Burrow might have, we don't know. If Joe Burrow comes out,
led his team and brought his team back from near-death experience.
I understand that, but Deshaun Watson is better, bro.
It doesn't matter. He's been removed from. Has Deshaun Watson been to a Super Bowl? No. Has he won the AFC?
But he didn't.
No, has he won most valuable player?
He didn't have Joe Mixon. He didn't have Jamar Chase. He didn't have those tight ends. He didn't have that defense. All he had was DeAndre Hopkins.
We're talking about quarterback play. We're talking about checkdowns. We're talking about completion percentages. We're talking about getting to the big game.
The play where Deshaun Watson is being pressured and he
Super Bowl.
spins out of the Joe Burrow. As much as I love Joe Burrow and as cool as Joe Burrow is and as great as he is, he can't do some of the things that Deshaun Watson can do.
He's already proven. He was sacked 7 times against Tennessee.
No.
How are you going to go against?
You're right. So
okay, and then they just acquired La'el Collins from the Cowboys, so that's going to protect his blind side. So you're beefing up this offensive line. Joe Burrow's already proven that he can do that. He is cool under pressure.
He's been to a Super Bowl. You're right. You're right. But what I'm saying is that Deshaun Watson will go to a Super Bowl this season if he can play. If he can somehow escape with a 6-game suspension and he plays after starting week 7, then the Browns are a Super Bowl favorite because of Deshaun Watson and his skill set, that running game, and those wide receivers.
Next year, yes. Next year, yes. This year, no. Absolutely not. Nope, not going to happen.
So you're putting Burrow. You're going Burrow. You're going Lamar Jackson.
I'm Burrow because Lamar knows how to light you up with his feet. He does it scrambling out from under center.
And I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan, and I apologize. to Lamar Jackson if he's watching. Look, Maria Lascuna, she never gets into these debates, but she's on your side. She said not this year. All right, maybe not this year, Maria. But listen to me. If Deshaun Watson, and this is a very viable option that could happen. This is not just like some kind of like random take. Like they could easily say, you know what? He has no criminal charges. They suspend him for 2 games, and then man, all bets are off because that Cleveland Brown, those weapons.
He's not going to get 2 games. I'm telling you right now. He's not going to happen.
All right, so you don't think that with a backup quarterback, if they're 3-3 after 6 games, that he can't get them to the playoffs? And then once Deshaun Watson gets to the playoffs, I mean, look at the defense that he's had. Look at the coach that he had when he was there. He had Bill freaking O'Brien.
Here's the problem with that is that you have to have weapons on both sides.
Kevin Stefanski is not Bill O'Brien. He's better.
Okay, no, he's like Bill O'Brien 5.0. Okay, he's been able to do this time and time again. You now have Stefanski, who did have a very immature quarterback, but in all fairness, Deshaun Watson still has yet to show that he's mature about the situation. There's these canned responses from the Browns camp giving you what they want you to hear, what they want. We've done independent investigations and we've done background research and we've done this. That's a
basically saying they call all the masseuses.
They may as well have got on the yellow pages, and tried making phone calls, okay?
Or the back page.
Or the back page, you get into the white pages too, right? All the funny stuff happens in the white pages. And who even owns a phone book anymore? What are you, 1989? No, the bottom line is that Deshaun Watson has yet to prove that he can get there. He's yet to prove he can get there in this Brown system as well. Why? Because they want to give you canned responses, canned statements to Cleveland Browns fans to wash away his sin, to wash away the things that he has been accused of doing, not criminally, but civilly.
Yeah.
And he's going to come out of this squeaky clean? Not going to happen.
In full disclosure, we've all had massages that did not end happily ever after. Okay, like Deshaun's did. But it was just funny to me because we talked on Friday and we both talked about massages, and I literally was like, Rudy, are we talking about both of us getting massages on the day that Deshaun Watson gets traded? We're talking about having massages.
Yeah, and it
playoffs.
Yeah, massages.
Yeah. It's nothing wrong with having massages. I've gotten a massage in the middle of the mall where the guy's like, "Hey, come on," and then But ultimately, what I feel like the Deshaun Watson has gotten a bad rap for all the stuff that's surrounding this whole fiasco, and I think he's a creep, but I think that he's top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL when he returns, and if he returns with those weapons, all bets are off. But you're right. Joe Burrow is still a viable candidate for MVP next year.
I would take
Lamar Jackson might come back with a vengeance.
Yeah, well, if you see Michael Jackson, tell him I said hello. But
did you say Michael? You said Michael Jackson. You meant Lamar. If y'all see Michael Jackson, tell him I said.
Let me know. Better report to the Inquirer. But Mitchell Trubisky is my number 3 in this.
He's number 3.
Watson, yep.
You put Deshaun Watson at number 4.
Yep.
All right, they might as well take me off the screen.
Take yourself off the screen. Mitchell Trubisky is a guy who's made a significant comeback. Don't forget, Steelers are not on the hook for a lot of this money, by the way. This is a 2-year rental, and Mitchell Trubisky shows that he can actually play this game in a Matt Canada offense led by one of the best coaches in the NFL, and Mike Tomlin, being able to get it to basically anybody. Yeah, fine, so they lost Ray McLeod. Not a big deal. I don't like fumbles. And that's when they should have got rid of some other Steeler wide receiver, aforementioned, not his name, but his alias, perhaps. People didn't like that at all. However,
are you talking about Claypool? Or are you talking about Antonio Brown?
No.
Talking about Juju? Which one are you talking about? Because
if you got Brown, you got to flush it down. I'm talking about.
Did you really just say that?
All Steeler fans know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not going to go into specifics because they just don't.
Let me stop you right there. So you're literally putting Deshaun Watson after being traded to the Cleveland Browns. You're saying that he is the number 4 quarterback in the AFC North right now. I am a Lamar Jackson. I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan, diehard. Yeah. Been with them since before the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And I don't put I put Deshaun Watson at number 1. You put him at 4?
I put him at 4 because he hasn't played in over a year. He's not football ready. He's still immature in a variety of ways. I can almost guarantee you that. And of course, the Browns have done their own investigative research on it, but he hasn't proven anything. Mitchell Trubisky, on the other hand, every start that he played while in Buffalo, he won.
Okay. So, all right. Well, listen. Okay. We're 22 minutes in. We are live on CoachellaValley.com, today'scalifornia.com, today'scanada.com. And trust me, this is such a bold take from both sides that Rudy and I are going to get off the show, and we are going to discuss this, and we are going to be just as heated as we are right now, and we're probably going to talk about it tomorrow. No, we're definitely going to talk about it tomorrow. You hear that? You hear that, Maria? Maria says, great info, guys. Maria, let's go and shout out to her. All right, let's move on, okay, because we're obviously going to have to agree to disagree on that right now. But when you have Deshaun Watson going to the Browns, you also had Deshaun Watson rumors that he was going to the Atlanta Falcons, and Matt Ryan started feeling some type of way. And Matt Ryan was basically done with the Atlanta Falcons, and the Atlanta Falcons were subsequently done with him. So obviously there had to be a move that was going to have to be made. And Matt Ryan has been traded to the Indianapolis Colts for a 3rd-round pick. They ended up getting 2 3rd-round picks for Carson Wentz. So basically they flipped Carson Wentz for Matt Ryan, which I think is brilliant. If you are a GM, I mean, Carson Wentz has had a lot of reputation, things swirling around him. He's also had injury concerns. Matt Ryan has been a guy who's been consistent. Matt Ryan is a guy who's won an MVP. And as long as Frank Reich has been there, he's been looking for a starting quarterback that can get him to the Super Bowl, get him over that hump. Jim Ertz and all these guys, they believe in the quarterback, and it has been a revolving door, not quite like what it's been in Cleveland, but it's been a revolving door since Andrew Luck. We thought Andrew Luck would be there for 25 years, like on some Tom Brady stuff. But Andrew Luck had to retire early, and they've been looking for a starting quarterback. They went out and tried with Carson Wentz. They tried with Phillip Rivers. They tried with Jacoby Brissett. But Matt Ryan being traded to the Indianapolis Colts with a great offensive line, with a great running game, with a great defense, inside of a dome where he's accustomed to playing inside domes. I feel like this move right here, okay? When you look at the AFC South, you got the Titans. You still got Tannehill, Derrick Henry. You still got, that defense. They don't have Julio Jones, but they didn't even use Julio Jones when they had him. I feel like the Houston Texans and Jaguars, I feel like this move, Matt Ryan going to the Indianapolis Colts, automatically solidifies them as a playoff team. What say you, Rudy Reyes?
When you look at Frank Reich and the type of quarterbacks that he's had to contend with, and by no means do I suspect that this is far from over, because again, we remember that Super Bowl blown lead by Matt Ryan and that offense. People know exactly what I'm talking about.
Was it the offense though, or was it the offense?
It was a fact that the offense went stale. The play call on the offense was not as creative in the second half. They didn't have the completions that they had in the first half. The 3rd down completion ratio was like in half. by the third quarter. It was almost doomed to fail. But then again, Belichick, the mastermind that he is, decided to find a way to make those halftime concessions and adjustments. And that's exactly what he did. There's no doubt about that. Bill Belichick is an absolute mastermind when it comes to third and fourth quarter comebacks, or in this case, a second half comeback they never had to face in their entire existence, for that matter. But this is a better deal for Ryan for a lot of reasons. First of all, he spent all 14 years in Atlanta, or Hot Atlanta, whichever one you want to choose. He's done absolutely everything right. The problem is that he had not had the weapons. Even with Julio Jones, he was being doubled all the time. Julio Jones couldn't fight for separation when you're doubled down the field. It was just doomed to fail. They had Tevin Coleman at one time. They did have
really.
Well, they did have a relatively prolific offense, to be honest with you. They didn't get to the Super Bowl just merely based on their defense alone. So I think it's a better deal for Matt Ryan. Don't forget, Reich has been dealing with backup quarterbacks one year after the other,
and he's a career backup.
He's exactly, and he's been a career backup himself. He knows what it's like. He understands the underdog story. Carson Wentz, not a good relationship in Philadelphia, so he went on to another team. That team didn't do so well. Nick Foles is still on the market as well, to my understanding. So when you want a guy, you go with Matt Ryan, because now that gives you the best possible chance to win. You have the defense. You have the NFL's leading rusher in your back pocket, in your hip pocket, who can do multiple things. I think Matt Ryan is an absolute fantastic move. And Carson, the train wreck, Wentz, going to Washington, two trains colliding in Virginia right now with the Commanders. I'm just saying.
I'm from Virginia, and watch him out. Shout out to Miss Maddie, because she watches every episode, and she's like a second mama to me. But honestly, I believe that this is everything you're describing and more. You're absolutely right. Matt Ryan going to Indianapolis he's going to elevate the play of Pittman. He's going to elevate the play of Mo Alley Cox, who is a backup tight end. He's going to elevate the play of Jonathan Taylor. And I just feel like that offensive line, that's where he excels. Where he gets protected, that's where he excels. And I honestly believe that this is a playoff locked team the minute they signed that deal, and I'm excited for them. And I was kind of hurting for Atlanta Falcons fans, because I know a lot of Atlanta Falcons fans from where I'm from. I'm from Virginia. You mentioned Virginia, the train wreck that is Carson Wentz. I think he'll have some success. Maybe not win the division, but he'll have success there. But here's what I was thinking when I saw the deal. I was like, damn, what is Atlanta going to do? Because Atlanta was all in on Deshaun Watson, basically kicking Matt Ryan out the back door. And then when they didn't get Deshaun Watson, they still had to get rid of Matt Ryan, because Matt Ryan obviously was done. They were done with him. But right. they've got a good culture there. And Arthur Smith, who was, the offensive coordinator with the Tennessee Titans, he comes over and he has a lot of experience. And when he was in Tennessee, he had Marcus Mariota. And Marcus Mariota let's not forget, he was a Heisman Trophy winner. He was considered one of the best quarterback prospects we've ever seen. He's from Honolulu. He played in Oregon. He played in a high-paced, fast offense. He has the skill sets to throw the ball down the field, deep down the field, big arm when needed. But he mostly has been considered as a mobile quarterback. And even when he was with the Las Vegas Raiders last season, they only used him in running situations, in RPO situations. So he's been looking to revive his career, number 2 overall draft pick under RG3. And he's been looking to revive his career. And I've always been rooting for this guy when he was a backup in Tennessee, when he's a backup in Las Vegas. And now he gets an opportunity to be the starter, because let's not forget, under Matt Ryan, they ain't got nobody. And it's not even worth mentioning their names. But I'm telling you right now, Marcus Mariota is going to, in my opinion, have a revival of his career in Atlanta, and he's going to thrive. They're not going to win the division. I mean, the division is it's tough no matter what quarterbacks are there. But I think that Marcus Mariota will be their starter for the next couple years.
If Marcus Mariota goes to Atlanta, I really like this move for a couple of reasons. Revitalize his career. You're absolutely right there. He had 4 yards for the Raiders last season, 226 yards a year before that, 1,200.
He had more rushing yards, last year than passing yards.
But hold on. Derek Carr sometimes looked a little faded getting onto the field. And when you had a backup like Mariota, who deserved every bit of starting time to right this shit with Derek Carr, when he was with the Titans, he threw for 1,203 yards, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That was his last year in 2019. I think Marcus Mariota is a really good fit. He can do it with his legs. You don't need to necessarily protect that pocket like you would for Tom Brady, like you would for his predecessor. You don't necessarily need to have that. This is a play action offense. You could turn that very simply into it. Make him scramble out of pocket, which Mariota does have wheels. Ohana knows how to roll. Okay. And if you get him on a roll, he will pick you apart. He just needs a chance. And I think the opportunity for him is in Atlanta.
I absolutely agree. And just from being from Virginia and knowing Michael Vick, I've met him a couple of times. And Michael Vick, I'm from the 757, and Michael Vick's from the 757. And he came to Atlanta and he just revitalized that entire franchise. He was a mobile quarterback. That's what Atlanta loves, is mobile quarterbacks ever since Michael Vick. They got pinched by the Michael Vick bug. And did I say the Michael Vick bug? I meant the Michael Vick bug. They got pinched by the Michael Vick bug.
A bit hard.
Say that 5 times. But now they've always like Matt Ryan never wants to run. He's just not a mobile quarterback. And Marcus Mariota is a guy that can throw the ball down the field. He's a guy that's also mobile. And I feel like that franchise, it just in the point that where they're at right now, and then having Kyle Pitts. You know, the tight end is the best friend to a mobile quarterback that you can have it in the NFL. And I feel like Kyle Pitts, who's a hybrid wide receiver / tight end, I feel like he'll be a great security blanket for Marcus Mariota, and having a guy that believes in you, a coach that believes in you, and has put you in positions to be successful when you did get to play in Tennessee. I feel like it's going to be a great, reunion. And I feel like I don't think they're going to win the division. I don't even know who's going to win that division right now, but I'm going to say that Marcus Mariota does have success there, and I'm rooting for him. You know, I love underdog stories. So before we close out real quick, because we got to really, really quick talk about this for like three minutes. Baker Mayfield has now he's asked already to be traded by the Cleveland Browns. He might now become their backup quarterback under Deshaun Watson, which is not even a choice. Like, obviously Baker is going to be his backup. What do you do if you're the Cleveland Browns? I'll give you 1 minute and I'll give myself 1 minute. What do you do? Do you trade him or do you keep him as the backup?
No, you actually trade him, because you now have put yourself in a situation where a quarterback is very uncomfortable. I understand the business side, and that's one aspect to it, and that could take another 30 minutes alone. But from a football standpoint, you have a guy who's athletic, who could get that ball out, who knows the system already, and that's Baker Mayfield. The problem is he's already asked for a trade, and he was denied that trade request because it wasn't a signed deal with Deshaun Watson quite yet. So I think that when you look at where he belongs, I think he belongs somewhere else. And to be honest with you, there's still some quarterback-hungry teams.
Carolina.
Carolina would be a great spot for Baker Mayfield. But here's the problem. A starter turned into a backup. When did that happen? Right? Well, it happened with Mitchell Trubisky. We've seen that happen.
Ooh.
In Buffalo.
Sometimes, yeah, you make a great point.
Sometimes you have to humble yourself. Sometimes you got to eat that pie in whole and not in part.
Hey, I like that because Mitchell Trubisky went and he had to become a backup, and then now he's in a position to be a starter, and he's more humble, and he's also seen somebody do it at a high level, and he's got an example of what a true leader is in Josh Allen. I love that. I love that take. Honestly, I agree with you, but I think that he served better in Houston. But I think after 1 year, I think if he stays one, I think he should stay 1 year under Deshaun Watson, because I know Deshaun Watson is a creep, and I know the reputation that is swirling around his head. But I feel like when you listen to Dabo Swinney and you listen to the players that play with him at Clemson, he's a leader on the field. He might not be a leader when you walk into a masseuse parlor, but he's definitely a leader on the field. And I feel like Deshaun Watson, Baker Mayfield watching Deshaun Watson at his very best, I feel like it's going to be beneficial to both of them. But I also feel like the best backup quarterback you could probably have right now in the league is Baker Mayfield. So if I'm the Browns, I keep both of them. I tell Baker, hey, we're going to look for the best deal that we can find for you, and as soon as we get it, we'll let you know. But I keep him as long as I can because I don't know how many games Deshaun Watson plays. So I feel like Baker Mayfield is I mean, it's still his house until Deshaun Watson steps on that field with that jersey on and the crowd goes wild. I feel like it's still Baker Mayfield's house. So progressive.
Baker's keys were repossessed.
Isn't it funny that that the progressive commercials are all swirling around? This is Baker's house. It's now Deshaun Watson's house. But
Yep.
so basically, Deshaun Watson's the landlord, and Baker Mayfield's paying rent. As
All
soon as
he's doing is a rentee, and he's paying top-notch rent right about now. He's going to pay some more once he gets traded.
Yes, sir. All right, real quick, we always do the meme of the day, and the meme of the day this week is it's pretty good, man. I was weak at this. Okay, so we heard Deshaun Watson is going to the Browns. This is what the Cleveland masseuses are doing right now. They're like, Lord, I need more lotion.
Hey, wait, hold on. Is one of those guys Aaron Donald?
No. Hey, that's funny, man. That's so funny because of the story that came out.
Urban Meyer stated he didn't even know who Aaron Donald was.
How the hell you don't know who Aaron Donald is? We're going to talk about that tomorrow, Rudy. Let them know where they can find you at, boss.
You go to @RudDogReyes on Twitter. You can go to theruddogShow.com where this video will be posted.
It will.
And go find me on LinkedIn, Instagram. Gosh, you name it. I'm there.
Hey, for sure, man. And shout out to everybody who tuned in. Maria, she commented. She said it definitely got heated. It did. And we still got more to talk. We'll talk later. Shout out to Bill Senso. Shout out to Naomi Beck. Said red and black tandem. But yeah, y'all can find me on Facebook just the way it's written right here. You can also find me on Twitter at Radio Barry Long. I promise I'll tweet more. And you can also find me on IG at Barry Long II. Y'all stay focused, stay motivated, stay inspired, and remember, you're capable of doing literally freaking anything. And real quick,
all you got to do is do it.
Yeah. And because Jameis Winston signed, he re-signed with the Saints. Can we leave him with this? I just love this video.
Give overall shape to the way this played out, Jameis.
Well, I just think we were prepared. You know, one thing my trainer, he told me, he said, what did he say? He just told us to be prepared.
We'll be prepared tomorrow. We'll see y'all tomorrow. We love y'all. It's the Hot Minutia. Peace.